Hey, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be covering my update on my React Native app that I'm hopefully going to launch very soon. I've been working on it as a side project. It's the first React Native app I've ever done. It's a little app to kind of queue up several other apps that I have in the back of my head. I wanted to share kind of my experience and also hopefully do a video series on what I've learned in React Native, especially for someone coming from JavaScript and a backend framework and coming into React and be able to get things working and what the styling and different nuances are to running it on your system. So let's check out the app, and then I'll cover all the things that went well, the stuff that didn't go well, and then some awesome tools that I can share with you to hopefully get you off the ground and running faster than I could. So here's the app. It's a jokes and trivia app. Nothing crazy. It doesn't actually have any backend systems that it connects to. It started where I had a Node.js server that was running on Heroku, and it would hit that and call out to it, and it would get the jokes and trivia questions from that. But I decided that was way too complicated, and since Heroku is now going to a paid model, I didn't really want to, continue down that path. And I figured it's probably for the better. I don't have to call out to these APIs, get all the information back, parse it. It'll save on the data transfer. And then also this app is completely offline now. I just have some files that are read in at the, whenever you navigate to each of the pages. And so it'll parse all that data and show you different jokes and trivia. I'll probably have a few different iterations on this. I'm already thinking that you could have a different version for like Halloween, so maybe like a Halloween themed jokes and trivia, or a Christmas or a Thanksgiving. So I already have a few app updates in queue to kind of think about for the holidays. I'll let you know whenever this is available. I'll probably post in the comments of this video whenever it's available on each of the iOS and Android stores. Let's check it out. So you see, like, you can have jokes. It has this titling at the top. It has the I wish I knew a better way to do this menu bar. This looks very vanilla to me, so if you have any suggestions, definitely let me know. I've been using React Native Paper, and that's gone well. Definitely something that I want to consider is maybe a different UI framework in the future for different apps. But this one, has the joke, and then you show the punchline, and then you can go to the next one. And I think I have about 200 or so jokes in here right now. I'll probably add some more before it goes live, but kind of a pretty basic scheme. So if we have trivia, so I started with it just having trivia questions like the jokes, but then expanded this from feedback from a couple people who were testing the app of adding different categories for trivia, which might be a good thing for jokes as well. And so there's all the categories that we could go to, and then it has the different questions and 3 different options. So Olympic rings, there's 5, and we see correct. And if you get it incorrect, then you don't get the next question button. And it's nothing crazy. I wanted to exercise my React Native skills and figure out how to do light and dark theming, which this app supports, how to do different dynamic content, which started out with the APIs like I mentioned, but this one pretty basic, has some good content, and I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I think it's in a really good spot to release. I just got to go through all the different things, which I'll cover in just a minute, of all the different items that you need to actually launch an app, which is quite staggering to me. Like, there's a lot that goes into this, and it's way more than I thought originally. So we have, these jokes here. You can select your category. If you wanted to filter just to music, then you would have, again, the music category filtered there. Pop culture gives you that. And so I'll cover this in a different video of more of the code, but I just wanted to show y'all. Hopefully this looks cool and you're interested in it. I'll pull a link whenever it goes live on both of the app stores, and you can check it out. So some stuff that went well. I was able to use Flexbox and CSS, all of that knowledge of React that I already had from building front-end web applications, and it just fit into React Native, which was really nice. I didn't have to go, learn a ton of new stuff. There's definitely specific elements for React Native that you have to learn. So, you can't just use divs everywhere. You have to use different text or view or scroll view components, but getting that into there, especially if you have a suite of component libraries that you like to pull in whenever you're building web apps, you'll feel right at home. I was able to deploy test builds to Google Play pretty quickly. I've developed previous apps which were native to the Android system before, and so that felt really familiar, and I got something working. Like you saw it, I was able to get something pretty basic and working quickly. It wasn't beautiful, but after tweaking some things with React Native Paper, I was able to get something that looked and felt pretty cool. Definitely room for improvement again with that header bar. I wish there was a different thing. Maybe it's just something I don't know about yet. And I'm going to actually release this, so it's not just another side project that is going to sit in the wake and never see the light of day. I intend to release this, and I'm excited for it. Like, one of the reasons that I wanted to start with a simpler app is so I could release it and kind of get that momentum of releasing something, getting it out in the wild, and getting feedback on it, because there's no way I'm going to learn better through the whole process than releasing it. So I would encourage you, if you haven't released something to the App Store, just build a silly app, build like something interesting that you find a little bit of value in, and release it. Like, get that muscle memory so you can do it in the future. The app evolved from being a completely back-end and API-driven app where it was fetching the jokes and trivia from a remote server to being all in-house and like all contained within the app. I'll have to make sure to monitor like if that file gets too big for the different jokes and trivia, but it feels nice to have that all be offline. So like you could use it, you could download it, and you don't have to be online to be able to use jokes and trivia stuff. Like, I really like that about the app. Some of the things that did not go so well was I started out using Expo. So I had previously started a different React Native project that is a much bigger app, and like I have a bunch of data and cool stuff I want to utilize, but that was a big project and I knew it was going to take many months. And so I wanted to get something again with muscle memory, and I had a React Native app and I thought it was a little complex. So going through a few tutorials, I ended up using Expo and using the Create React Native App generator, and that turned out to just be a mess. Like, Expo seems like a good way to get started for some, but I couldn't get things like AdMob. So there's a few different spaces within the app where there's gaps where I intend to show ads. And so I've used AdMob in the past for other apps, other native apps that are not built in React. Those just worked, but man, I could not get Expo to work with AdMob. I tried probably 4 different libraries and I just couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get the app icons to work either. Like, it's supposed to give you, just this nice generated feel of, all right, you give it like 2 or 3 different files and it just generates all the app icons for you. I couldn't get any of that to work. So I ended up bailing on Expo and just copying all of the JavaScript and TypeScript out of that project and into a vanilla React Native app that was just, the normal set of functions. And so I used that, and that got me unstuck and I was able to get everything working. I also feel like it's overwhelming to figure out which UI framework to use. So there's React Native Paper, which is what I've been using, and then you can do Material UI. There's I forget, it's like Kitty something. I'll have to look it up later. But there's a ton of variation, and it was a little daunting to figure out which one is best. Maybe it's just best to play around with them and figure out what your style is and figure out what works best for your app. But I struggled a lot with doing that. During the course of the development, I was able to use some really awesome tools. So Color Hunt was what I used for getting the palette and selecting the light and the dark mode. And then Canva I used for creating a basic logo, which I'll probably riff on and make it a little bit better, but it got me started with just a basic font and some pretty cool styling. My wife doesn't really like it, but hey, it's fine. Then I used appicon.co, and that, once you have an icon or a logo for the app, you can just dump it in there and it'll generate everything that you need, which is phenomenal. I loved doing that. I was able to create a privacy policy, which was a thing that I didn't realize you needed, but you definitely have to have a privacy policy. And so I uploaded that to one of my websites so that it could be leveraged for the app. But heads up on that, like, you will need a privacy policy for uploading to any of the app stores. So next steps, I'm going to do a lot of refactoring, clean up the app, probably do, you know, maybe a Halloween theme and also a Christmas theme, maybe even Thanksgiving. We'll see. Have like different jokes and trivia that are themed in those different holidays. Clean up all the code. I think that the best way to do styles is you actually pull the styles up into the top section of each file, and I want to do that because the styles are kind of all over the place right now, and there's got to be a better way to manage those. I need to figure out what testing libraries to use. I didn't write any tests for this, which makes sense because I was still getting up to speed with the framework, but I really need tests, and I want to have that as part of the code base. I also need to figure out some crash analytics. I know that like test flights gives you some of that with iOS. I need to figure out what the Android stuff is, or maybe if there's something specific for React Native, and being able to figure out when crashes happen so I can fix them in production. So that's an outstanding question I need to figure out. If you have answers to any of that, I would love to hear it. I would love and appreciate that if you could leave a comment in the section below so that I can understand and like know where to find some of this stuff. But if you like this video and you like any React Native content, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll have more in the future. Hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.